With a VSP individual vision plan, you're the one pulling the strings. Because taking care of your eye health after retirement comes with a lot of decisions that only you should make, like choosing how to save on the lens enhancements you need, the right name brand frames for your style, and choosing your eye doctor from the nation's largest independent doctor network. Even how you enroll is up to you. Make the best decisions for your vision at the eye doctor's office, retail locations, and online with VSP individual vision plans.
With the VSP individual vision plan, you're the one pulling the strings. Because when getting vision coverage through work isn't an option, taking care of your eye health comes with a lot of decisions that only you should make. Like choosing how to save on the lens enhancements you need, the right name brand frames for your style, and choosing your eye doctor from the nation's largest independent doctor network. Even how you enroll is up to you. Make the best decisions for your vision at the eye doctor's office, retail locations, and online with VSP individual vision plans.
Throws, it is caught! Touchdown!
Drops back to goal, it's picked up! Touchdown!
Shotgun snap, under pressure, ball is through!
This is the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, welcome to the Mean Gene Show second hour. I am here with my co-host for the day, and that is Jacob Meadows. And we are the countdown. We only had a couple of minutes from that last hour to get logged into our draft, baby. The computer is all lit up, and we are 15 minutes away from the start of the 2024 Sports Kings NFL Draft. I am picking fourth. Cruz is picking first.
I am picking
You're picking
second,
number
baby.
2. Get out of here.
Won the league, and I'm coming back
Sharma
with a good
Living is picking number 3. How the hell? Who did this? Who's the commissioner of this draft? Oh, it's me. Okay. Yes. There we go. Oh, man, we are almost there. AJ, this is going to be fun because this is where inexperienced fantasy football players draft a kicker in the first round. It happens.
It does.
It has happened. And you want to know who that inexperienced player was some 10 years ago that picked the kicker? It was me. I'm not ashamed to say it. It's okay. But since then, since I have been playing, look, I'm 60 years old, man. I like getting in here whipping these young boys' asses. Because first of all, this is just fun. I have won 6 fantasy football championships since picking that kicker in the first damn round.
You learned from your mistakes.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Now, the next year I picked the defense in the first round, so I got better. I worked my way all the way up to a wide receiver, okay?
It's a learning process. Right? You got to trust the process.
It took me about 6 years, so it's been about, 16 years playing fantasy football, so I'm getting it right.
You're getting there.
I'm getting there.
There's a learning curve.
Okay, so Cruz is drafting first, and these guys are all in the chat room. Jacob's here. Denny's got the 3rd pick. I got the 4th. Big game. Vikings house number 6. Too legit to quit. You should just quit now. You're picking number 7. Don Knotts is picking number 8. And we got Dirty Dangle. Someone changed their name.
Was that Melons?
No. Melons is 10. Melons is picking 10 there. So, wow, this is going to be great here. And look, I tell you what, folks, fantasy football drafts are happening all over the nation. This is usually about the time it takes place because this is where, maybe not the preseason, but you also got interesting things like the CD Lamb.
Correct.
You got Nick Chubb that's probably not coming around for about 7 to 8 weeks. So some players, you look at the Minnesota Vikings situation, the quarterback situation, who's going to get the ball to Justin Jefferson?
Yeah. Who's is it going to be Sam Darnold? Is it going to be Nate Mullins? Nick Mullins looked pretty good.
Mullins did look pretty good. So you really got to strategize here. And some folks like to go heavy wide receivers. Some folks like to go running backs. As we all know, this is a passing league.
There's a winning recipe, baby.
So, but this is pretty interesting here. And do you take a chance on CeeDee Lamb? You got Jamar Chase. Well, guess who's coming back to throw the ball to Jamar Chase? You got his quarterback, Joe Burrows.
Jamar Chase. Yeah. Joe Burrow's going to be back.
So, yeah, all these things matter. And, Amon-Ra St. Brown, his quarterback is going to be throwing the ball to him. A.J. Brown.
Same thing. You got Jalen Hurts throwing the ball to him.
And Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers gets maybe there's a connection there.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So you got a lot of, and look, this phone, man. See what it says right there? We are on it. The Sports Kings draft started right on time here. This is good. And Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, rookie players, I draft one every year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm drafting Marvin Harrison.
But
Jr.
It's a possibility should he fall into the right round.
Possibility, but I remember drafting Ezekiel Elliott in the first round as a rookie.
It's a good pick.
It was the first round. It could have been the second round, but I did draft, and I also drafted Saquon Barkley.
Also
as rookie.
Tremendous pick. Yeah.
So who are you looking at? I mean, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
But give me some talking points here. What do you like on the board for the draft?
I'm looking for somebody that's going to be multi-purpose, right? I want somebody that's going to run the ball and catch the ball. So you look at players like you have the Deebo Samuels of San Francisco that are switchability players. They'll get some carries throughout the season. They also catch a primary portion of the balls. So it's looking like somebody that can do both, right? So you're looking like a Deebo Samuel, a Christian McCaffrey, a Joe Mixon, somebody that's capable of doing both. Probably a running back. I prefer to take running backs in the first round because of that dual purpose without having to worry about equaling into having too many 49ers players on my team or anything like that. But I like a running back in the first round. I think it's a safe pick. I think it gives you somebody that can produce more than other people because of the multifaceted ability to get the ball. So I'm liking a running back.
AJ, have you made your picks in your draft?
Not yet. I think we're having our drafts next week and week after, something like that.
So you probably don't want to give anything away. You got any advice for me and Jacob? Look here. This is critical time here, man.
I think
no, Jacob. As a matter of fact, just go ahead and mute his mic for the rest of the show, and disconnect his Wi-Fi also. so he can get jammed there at that second pick, and then he can move on. Then I can move on.
He needs that help. He needs that help a lot.
I need any advantage I can get right about now because this is critical stuff here. But no, we're 7 minutes and 41 seconds away.
Ready.
Also, looks like we still have some action going on there, and between the Packers and the Broncos, score still 10-0, and we'll be talking about the AFC West immediately after this draft here on the Mean Gene Show right here. And I tell you what, Jamar Gibbs worries me a little bit because we talked about this. Me and you both agree that this injury might be being downplayed, and it could be worse than what it is.
Yeah. Plus, if you're the Lions, you reach out, you get David Montgomery last year, right? David Montgomery's terrific. He was an amazing back for Chicago. He led the Lions real well last year. So when you have Monty there on the roster still, you don't have to rush Gibbs back. There's no rush to bring him back from injury. So I'm scared of Jahmyr Gibbs because you really don't. You have no idea when he's actually going to get significant playtime because if this injury is being downplayed, David Montgomery could end up being that bell cow till week 10. Who knows?
Yeah, and then don't forget, you got a couple of running backs that have changed zip codes or addresses, so to speak. You got Derrick Henry now running the ball for Baltimore. That needs to be taken into consideration, knowing that Lamar Jackson will not have to carry as much or would not have to run as much as he has. And then you also have Saquon Barkley now running the ball in Philly. But here's one running back that's getting a lot of attention, and that is Kyren Williams for the Rams. And we saw some flashes of brilliancy last year.
Yeah.
But he is scheduled to go high. And,
really?
I think he's ranking, 17 right now, I believe. And so I don't know. I'm not really – I don't know what to think of the Rams right now because they pass so much.
They do, and they're the players on their roster, they deal with so many injuries. The hierarchy for their team is hard to peg. So that's an interest. Having Kyren Williams flying off early.
You got Nakua
curious.
And Cooper Kupp. So it just kind of, I haven't seen where the running back on that team has been like a major
Cam
factor.
Akers is gone. So is there even anybody to compete with him in the backfield? It might just be the Kyron Williams show, which is why he's going high because
they drafted Blake Corum too.
That's right. They do have Blake Corum.
And I do believe I had Blake Corum under my radar there. So, but there's so many running backs. I think Jonathan Taylor, who is no contract dispute, no problems, should be
free
running
clear
full year, and I think that's going to complement. Josh Jacobs said with the Packers. Yeah,
I like Josh Jacobs.
So, and Packers running backs historically have been really good. So it's going to be interesting, man. Isaiah Pacheco with the Chiefs, who finished strong last year.
He's such a good runner. He runs so hard. Every play, nobody runs as hard as Isaiah Pacheco does every given play.
And then you also have, of course, Travis Etienne for the Jaguars, who had a stellar year last year.
He did. The team
over
collapsed.
1,000 yards.
He looks good. Etienne's going to be real good. I'm hoping he has a bounce-back year. He deserves it, despite Jacksonville maybe letting him down last year. Etienne's he's a terrific running back.
Devon Achane.
Hey.
930 yards, 7 touchdowns.
You just have to worry about him being slotted behind Mostert on the depth chart. It's going to be impossible to recreate all the touchdowns and yards that Mostert had, sure. But same thing with Devon Achane. You got to be careful with both of them because they had a historic year for running backs last year as a tandem, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to run that back.
And we failed to mention Christian McCaffrey, who I believe in every fantasy league is number one.
Yep, got to be. Even though he's hurt now.
That's not saying you draft him number one, but I tend to think that he's questionable already.
But he's that offense, and he's been healthy since he got to San Francisco.
Sometimes he's questionable in a game, and he goes off for.
He'll have 130 yards and 3 touchdowns.
His fantasy points are ridiculous.
Just ridiculous.
They are. So last year, 1,229 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he played in 15 games.
It's a machine.
So it's it's just so much here. So, but CeeDee Lamb is probably the big question of the day. And, of course, Tyreek Hill is also one of those guys that you have to be prepared. I thought I had him last year. I just didn't have enough complimentary players
to help. Yeah, he put up plenty of points.
He single-handedly, won one game for me.
I tell you what,
year, but not enough. I couldn't combine enough wins to get out of the cellar
together. I hope Cruz takes CeeDee Lamb first overall. All that talent they have in Dallas.
Cruz, if you're listening to the show,
take CeeDee, baby.
Take CeeDee. As a matter of fact, take Nick Chubb. Get Chubb first.
Take Nick Chubb first overall. That works out. Appreciate you, Mr. Cruz.
2 minutes, 13 seconds, and this is cool because we go to a break. When we come back, the draft is going to start during the break. So AJ's got to remind us that we're actually on the air. This is really going to be fun. No, we're going to pay attention. I'm just messing with you. AJ, like, don't do that to me now, okay? So anyway, all right, fantasy football draft for the Sports Kings coming up in the next segment here. But look here, we're on a Yahoo fantasy football draft. There are ESPN drafts. There are NFL Network drafts. So you can, wherever you feel comfortable getting into a draft. I've heard a lot of people are going to play for the first time. So anyway, when we come back, folks, it's the Sports Kings 2024 NFL Draft right here on the Mean Gene Show with Mean Gene and Jacob on ESPN 97.5.
Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
For the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are back here in our studios here, ESPN 97.5, Mean Gene, Jacob Meadows. You are getting ready to witness the Sports Kings 2024 fantasy football draft, which is like taking place like crazy right now. And so we're going to be all over the place here. And I see we got a couple of guys do you auto pick? It's more fun to just do this way. Do it live. I mean, yeah. I think it's more fun to do it this way. Because, we did this in Las Vegas when we had our residency at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, or with these same group of guys. So it went over pretty well.
Yeah, I would say so.
Except for how I finished in the league, which I sucked there. So
it's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
Yeah. And it was a long journey for me. But you can say that when you won the league, of course. Yeah. So hey, if you folks out there listening, if you need some tips, I don't know if they're going to want any tips from me, Jacob. They probably want to talk to you since I finished last place. 713-780-3776. If you are doing your fantasy football draft this week, maybe we can help you.
Call in and ask for some advice.
Or maybe we can, really screw you on this. I don't know. However, but nevertheless, it's fantasy football time, and it's time to just kind of get this in your blood. So, man.
Hardy, a bunch of picks off the board.
A lot of picks off the board. So I like my first pick. I have to say, I thought this look. I think this is a pretty good pick.
Who did you take?
I took Jamar Chase with the first pick.
Not too bad. Not as good as the CMC that fell to me. But
Well, I mean, look, I just said that his quarterback is back this year.
He's going to
Joe Burrow is going to Jamar Chase should have a good year. Do you agree, AJ?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as long as he's healthy, that they should be a contender in the AFC. I think so, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I had to do that. So I think, I need to.
No Joe Mixon to cut into his targets. T. Higgins might get traded. It could be the Jamar Chase show moving forward in Cincinnati. So not bad.
Yeah, not bad. So, I mean, so far we're looking pretty good. I have. When is your next pick? I got 8 more.
10
more picks. So I know you. This is like me and you playing poker right now,
this
right?
This is what it is.
Because we just really can't. I noticed you turned your computer a little bit more towards you, so I can't look over.
I don't need you cheating off me, Mean Gene.
You won the league last year,
I gotta
right?
Run it back. It's 2 in a row, man.
So all right. So I really don't have time to see what the other guys are doing right now because we're so focused on just trying to get it done here. But anyway, what I do like about fantasy football, because we do it for money. Some folks do it for fun, bragging rights.
Yeah.
So women don't always understand the fantasy football thing. Well, what do you win? What are you doing? Why are you playing it?
Yeah, I found, though, if you let them into the league once, no matter what, they will learn more than a guy that has never played fantasy football ever will in one season. I got whipped by Wanda 3 years ago in the NFL.com draft. Now, I don't know if I was really playing Wanda. Sure.
I think it might have been Wanda's husband, but it didn't. It was a picture of Wanda.
All right.
And Wanda whipped my, and I
Wanda
was,
gave it to you.
Oh, I took it personally. Because I lost like 155 to like 60. It was a bad whipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't let any more women in that league. No, I'm just kidding. I
got to pick your battles.
No, I wouldn't do that. Women are more than welcome to join the leagues, and they are joining leagues all over the place. I see some of the guys in my queue are getting picked here, and I'm not really liking that. I just saw a lot of guys in my queue that so this is having me to regroup here, if you will. But that's okay. I still got enough.
I'm in agreement with you. I've seen a couple people fly off of my wish list, too.
I'm not really, so with 5 picks before Mean Gene picks here, and we're moving right along. Interesting picks here. And so who's the one guy on auto draft? Cruz?
Cruz, that would be number 1.
Not bad this is a league of 10 players. So there are some 12-player leagues. And as much as I like the ESPN league, and we talked about this, Jacob, on the way coming over, you get into that double playoffs or double weeks where you have to
double elimination, play the same team twice.
That right there is hard. And last year I did it, and I do not want to go through that again.
I couldn't imagine having to rely on an average over 2 games to win in the playoffs versus just outright beating somebody. That sounds so miserable.
It's tough. It's really tough. So, all right, we're moving right along here. We have to be really careful what we say because we're not trying to give. I think you up. Are you up?
Yeah, well, I'm up in 5 picks because I went from second to last. So Snake's coming around to me. But yeah, you can't give out too much because they're tuned in listening to us.
Yeah, I know that. So I'm looking at what's Dustin doing there. Our Dustin Pfeiffer, who is he covers the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte there I go again, Bobcats. Charlotte Hornets for Bally Sports Southeast. It was a time every time I said that I had to put like $1 in the jar Every time I said Bobcats. I can't believe I said it because I'm so freaking focused on this draft right now that 2 picks until my turn is. So I tell you what here, I really do like. I'm not going to tell you. I see Joe Mixon there, and I know the locals here would probably want me to pick Mixon, and maybe Mixon might make my roster because, oh my Lord, someone just took my freaking running back.
Travis Kelce just went in the second round of our
Someone
league.
just took my running back.
There's a shift of power.
And I you know what? That's okay. I got one right now. All right. We got him.
Oh, that's a good pick, Mean Gene.
Josh Jacobs. Yeah. We just sat up here and talked about him. Mm-hmm. He's on a team that the running backs, there you go. We just talked about Josh Jacobs. He's no longer with the Raiders. And he's with a team that historically has had great running backs.
And he's in a good position to win. You know, they just gave that big contract to Jordan Love. Josh Jacobs got brought in on a pretty hefty contract himself. The wide receivers are the same core that they had last year for the most part. And I think Josh Jacobs fits right in, takes Aaron Jones' spot, no problem. It'll be seamless, and he's going to have a great year for you.
All right. So, hey, my next pick, I already know. I'm just waiting. I can't say right now.
It's tough sitting on him.
It's tough because you're just trying to make sure no one takes him. And AJ, are you learning any kind of strategy here? AJ said, "You guys suck. We're gonna do my draft completely different."
Nah, I'm just listening. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So hey, I'm listening for sure. Just trying to think about it because I mean, you picked Jamar Chase. That's actually a good one as well. I'm just trying to think because I mean, the favorite wide receiver obviously is going to be Justin Jefferson, but like Jacob talked about though, the quarterback plays Sam Darnold. So you never know. Even though Justin Jefferson, he can compensate for that, but still, you know.
Sam Darnold could be good too. Right. Just to throw that out there,
exactly.
He's been around the league, played for the Niners last year.
My pick. See what happens. You take your eyes off the board and look what happens here. This is, oh man, it's getting really, 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 really tough here. So I know that I'm probably going to take one of these. I won't even say it. I can't tell you guys. I'm going to take a kicker next. That's what I'm going to do. Second round, I'm taking a kicker. All right. So, all right. Well, you doing good? You already made your pick?
Yeah.
You want to share now that you made it?
Took Nico Collins in the third round. Felt like that was pretty fitting.
Are you being a homer?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't. So
okay.
It's something about me. I never draft Texans players in any of my fantasy leagues. I'm terrified to touch the Texans.
So that was
bad juju if I take them. But you know what? I think Nico's going to come on strong. I think adding Stephon Diggs is going to open him up. And I just think it fall into the third round. It was worth taking a flyer on.
Okay. Well, I tell you what.
Who you gonna follow me up with?
I'm going to take this guy, even though he's not hurt, but he is holding out, and that is Brandon Ayuk.
I like that pick just because if he gets traded, he'll be a wide receiver one.
No matter where he goes, he's going to be a wide receiver one.
Yep.
Yeah, and if he stays with the 49ers, you got to think they're going to make him happy, and they're going to throw him the ball.
You got to think, because if they're going to give him a bag, they're going to have to use him. Mm-hmm. So he's going to get yardage. He's going to get touchdowns. And, he's a terrific wide receiver anyways. He's He's a gadget player like Deebo Samuel is. He can run the ball. He can catch it. So.
Well, I had a choice. I saw Deebo there, and I just figured, okay, Ayuk's numbers were just off the chain.
Yeah.
And I know this guy's going to end up somewhere. AJ, you okay with Brandon Ayuk?
Yeah, I think that's a good one for sure. I mean, he's going to end up playing ultimately because, I mean, you've heard between the past few weeks either the 49ers are close to one, a deal with him, or trading him. So, either way.
And believe me, the Pittsburgh Steelers would. They can use him after what I've seen in 2 preseason games. I'm surprised that the Texans wouldn't be in the mix, but they already got Diggs there, so no need to shake that team up. That team is already solid.
They have Diggs, they have Nico Collins, they have Tank Dell.
Just they're like, no, thank you. Don't call us.
Plenty of talent.
Yeah. The Texans are not even picking up the phone there.
No,
but Pittsburgh is. Somebody's waiting by the phone. Trust me. All right, how can we see what the other guys are doing? I mean, are we able to just kind of?
I think there's a way to expand this.
Really trying to, because we got to keep our eyes on the prize here. So Did anyone pick up A-Chain yet? I'm waiting for Dustin. Did Dustin finally take him?
Yeah, right there. Too legit, too late to quit.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So there we go. All right. So what we're in the third round. We're getting ready to start the fourth round. Mm-hmm. Pretty good players still on the board. Diggs, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, McLaurin, Kristen Kirk, Rasheed Rice, Keenan Allen. I mean, you still got some great players on the board.
Absolutely. There's a lot of talent missing, but I think this year is going to be a lot about, because of all the movement in the offseason, this is going to be a year for gems for fantasy leagues. It's not going to necessarily be whom you draft. I think it's going to be whom comes out of nowhere and makes a difference. Kind of like Zaire White, the running back for the Raiders got me to that won the league for me last season with you. I ended up picking him up. He saved my entire season.
Well, I tell you, unfortunately, man, a star is born sometimes like A-Chain. You don't know when they're going to sprout, but when they do, and Dustin was really lucky last year to hold on to him.
Very fortunate.
Because he came in relief for Mostert, right? So,
he did.
And, I mean, but the one thing about drafting him, A-Chain now, is that Mostert is healthy, and you have to take that into consideration because you got 1 and 2. All right, tell you what. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to finish our draft, but we also get to talk about the AFC West. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show right here with Mean Gene and Jacob Meadows on ESPN 97.5.
Now back to Mean Gene, broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios.
All right, we are back here, folks, at the bottom of the hour. The Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5 with Jacob Meadows over here to my right. We are in the middle of our Sports Kings 2024 fantasy football draft. So much is taking place. Joe Mixon is gone. And it's what you wanted him. It sounded like
I wanted Mixon. Yeah. He ended up getting taken. I ended up taking Scary Terry out of the Washington Commanders instead.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that happens. I just got kicked out of our league. I think AJ disconnected my Wi-Fi.
Ain't nothing to do with me.
No. All right. So we are going to be talking AFC West. And we just covered in the first hour, if you missed it, it was the AFC East. We did our division picks there, and now we're going to get into a division where the Super Bowl champions represent. We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. And look, we can say a whole lot about the Chiefs here and what they up against here. Back-to-back champions now. They are in a position to do what's never been done, and that is to win 3 in a row. And if any team out there can do it, it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
God, Patrick Mahomes is so good at football. But they really could be it'd be the easiest team to three-peat right now out of any roster. Patrick Mahomes is the most talented quarterback in the NFL right now. So, yeah, they could go back to back with this, which would be wild.
And we talked about what we saw yesterday with the behind-the-back type stuff. I mean, it just kind of seems like they're already in mid-season form if you really want to go there. I mean, expect to see that and much more out of
it's all
the Chiefs.
Routine for them.
Yeah.
Like they just do the incredible, and it's nothing but a normal day's work.
And how about adding Matt Nagy, who's a former coach, is now he's on that team with Andy Reid.
How about adding Xavier Worthy, the fastest receiver in the draft, to a wide receiving core that already had an insane amount of speed, and that's all they need to beat people. Ty Hill proved that. He was the blueprint. Now that you have Xavier Worthy and Rasheed Rice ready to just go gadget, get all the points for the Chiefs. So it's gonna be a wild year for Kansas City.
So and then Gus Edwards replaces Eckler with the Chargers.
Yes.
So that's going to be an interesting concept because I don't know exactly how Harbaugh is going to use him.
So the Gus bus is a pretty similar running back to Blake Corum. It's going to be a plug and play. He's a very similar player the style itself is very similar to Blake Corum. He's a little faster, but I think Jim Harbaugh has created what is essentially his Michigan offense with just, an elevated level of talent at the NFL. I think the Chargers are going to be a litmus test for how well somebody can do. Somebody can come out of a big school like Michigan, like Jim Harbaugh, who had previous experience but has been away from the professional game for a while. It'll be a litmus test for how they can actually respond in the NFL now, where everything is pass heavy. Michigan was not.
Yeah,
and it'll give us something. It's going to be something that's going to be very fun to watch this season.
Looking at how the AFC West finished last year, was the Chiefs finishing with 11-6. Of course, they went on to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You got the Raiders, who finished at 8-9, along with the Broncos, who made that strong surge. Right there at the end, man. They were on a roll after getting walloped by
shellacked by Miami
71 to and then the Chargers 5-12. So they have made wholesale changes with that organization. No longer is Keenan Allen there as part of that team. No longer is Mike Williams. Also no longer is Eckler there. Now, I don't know when the last time I've seen a team change like that. And then you bring in a new coach and Jim Harbaugh. I don't know. I just 5-12, not good. I don't know, and I'm not ready to make my picks yet on this division. But man, that's a big distance between their 5-12 and the Chiefs 11-6, and that wasn't even pretty for the Chiefs. But look what happened.
You're very right. And I mean, I love Justin Herbert. I think he's a better quarterback than sometimes the media circles give him credit for. But there's a certain point that you can reach that becomes insurmountable, and losing Keenan Allen, losing Mike Williams, losing Austin Eckler, it becomes too large of a void when you lose the only players you have chemistry with. Mm-hmm. You're starting over, so this is gonna be a heck of a year.
It's gonna be a heck of a year, and you talk about Herbert, man. This guy, and I love him because he's a big quarterback. I had him ranked up there with Josh Allen at one time, but we haven't seen anything. You had the weapons there, and of course now he went through. He's on his third coach.
Yeah, growing
this doesn't really make it even.
Doesn't help at all.
It doesn't help at all. So I don't know what Harbaugh. Now, granted, you got a quarterback, a former NFL quarterback as your coach, so that helps.
It's gotta help. It's gotta help.
Yeah. So, but you also get a guy. Harbaugh is just not your typical come from college to the NFL coach.
You were talking about the guy that took Colin Kaepernick to a Super Bowl.
To a Super Bowl. Yeah. So this guy, I like that situation, but man, I don't know if Herbert is Harbaugh's type of quarterback.
Yeah, you look at Justin Herbert, you look at J.J. McCarthy, right? The guy that Harbaugh just coached at Michigan. And you don't see a lot of the parallels, right? Because J.J. McCarthy ran a run-first offense. Justin Herbert is an absolute gunslinger. So it's going to be interesting to see how Harbaugh schemes around his quarterback, which is something that he has historically been good about doing. It'll be interesting to see how he's able to scheme around Justin Herbert's style when Herbert's still in town on a large contract and is still a very good quarterback in this league.
Yeah. And, we're still doing our draft here, and I cannot find a tight end on the board that's worthy of drafting here, because we talked about it earlier, how some offenses might have a double tight end set.
Yep.
And as I look here, I don't know, I'm seeing names here that I'm like, are these my choices? These my choices? Jimmy Graham, really? Jordan Matthews? Logan Thomas, it looks like I'm going to have to draft a rookie tight end.
Thomas could be good. Logan Thomas could be good.
Darren Waller's not even in the league anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have Dawson Knox still available? You could push Dawson Knox for Buffalo.
This is just crazy here. So I guess I went to as likely he might be. Okay, I need to get
That'd
down
be a good
here.
Selection. I like that.
To the okay, now I'm starting to see, Dallas guarded. Okay, maybe I didn't have my mouse where it needed to be. There's Dalton Schultz. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Now we getting somewhere.
Representing H-Town.
There we go. Now we getting somewhere. So, all right.
Dalton Kincaid off the board. Another young tight end.
Huh?
Said Dalton Kincaid off the board, another young tight end. Someone just took Aaron Jones, risky pick for the Vikings.
Yeah, hopefully that person finishes last. Whoever took Aaron Jones. I look here, man. I told you this is a killer league here. We talk about everybody. There's no love lost between any of us, especially Denny.
No, not even.
And you know what? When Denny comes on the show, AJ's gonna love him because Denny is a big time Cowboys fan.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I'm trying not to connect those two, but it's going to happen eventually.
Sounds like a reasonable person.
Yeah, he does. All right. So, but anyway, so you got the Chiefs, you got the Chargers, you got the Raiders, you got the Broncos. And let's talk about the Broncos. Let's talk about their own TV now. Look like I don't have the score
They're
right
now. They're up 17-0 last time I saw.
Bo Nick's still playing. Look like he's giving some high five there.
Dapping people up on the sidelines, which you love to see from a rookie.
So, all right. Can we get a sound here? Because I'm about to make a pick here. With the 57 pick here. I just drafted Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz is off the board.
All right, there we go. Got me a tight end. And a quality tight end at that.
He is a good tight end, though I would be worried Cade Stover might slip into a couple of his plays and take some passes off of him. Got to be worried about that.
We're not going to worry about that. We're not going to worry about that. I think this guy, I was surprised that your Cowboys, AJ, let him go.
Well, I don't think he wanted to be there necessarily because I don't know if you heard last year, too. There was some audio. He was saying, like, there's just a lot of, like, I don't know about drama, but he said something.
About it being a circus.
Right, there you
inside,
go.
Because all the people would come and watch him work out and whatnot.
Yeah, it was that.
Oh, with Dallas?
Yeah.
He really didn't like that?
There was animosity.
Really? Oh, interesting. Huh. Okay. Well, chances are I'm going to draft another tight end. And I like what I see on the board for tight ends. Jacob is over there. You know when Jacob gets going there, he don't want to talk to me because he's probably picking there.
Okay. I'm trying to secure
we
the
get ready to go to a break
row.
anyway, so I'm going to find out what the hell you're doing anyway over there. I know you being mighty secretive, but all right. So actually, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show, and we're going to make our AFC West selections here. We're going to do all of that here. You're listening to The Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.
This is The Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are moving right along here. The last segment, man. This is whoa. And this draft is still moving, and it's slow. We're only in the 8th round. I thought it was going to move a lot faster. I think next year I set the picks to 30 seconds.
I think we're going to have to because it felt like it was going to blow quickly, but it is definitely creeping along, man.
Yeah, it's moving mighty slow. Okay, Jacob Meadows joining me here, the host of Coach's Quarters. You can check out his podcast every week here throughout the NFL season. Also, you can check out the Sports Kings podcast, which will feature Jacob will be on that show with us, along with Dustin Pfeiffer, Denny Sharma,
whoop, whoop.
Downtown Wayne Brown. You remember those names?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the Sports King Show. So we will do our NFL Weekly Countdown show on the iHeart podcast or wherever you get your podcast, but you can check us out every week. I'm not sure what day. It's probably going to be on Fridays, but anyway. And then, of course, you can always catch the Mean Gene Show here. So we get to predict what's going to happen. And then when you guys are wrong, I get to come here on Sundays and say how right I was about those picks.
Must be nice to not have to go out on a limb and make predictions.
No accountability there whatsoever. All right. Denver Broncos in the AFC West. We talked about the turnaround that Sean Payton made last year. Of course, you know, they're still on the hook for the Russell Wilson contract there, but Bo Nick seems to be their guy. And more than likely will be the starter going into the season. So he's just one of those rookies. He played ball in Auburn. He played in Oregon.
Yep.
The most experienced quarterback going into the NFL in history, I think.
Should be, yeah. And good for him, right, to come out and take this team over. the preseason's still going, so you don't know what ends up actually happening, grand scheme of things. But it does look like it's going to be Bo Nix's team.
Yeah, and then, we just saw Tim Patrick, one of the guys, looked like Broncos did have some of their starters out there. And then, of course, Cortland Sutherland, who was he was one of Russell Wilson's.
Correct. One of his top tier targets.
Yeah. Then, of course, they got the running back, Javonte Williams. So, I just think the Broncos, I don't know. When you look at the AFC West, and I think everyone has to agree with me that only one team is going to come out of that division, and the Chiefs are definitely going to win it. You have to really be damn good to get a wild card in that division, especially when you know what the Jets, the AFC East is going to be putting out, and you know what the AFC North with Pittsburgh and those guys are going to be putting out. So I'm sorry, I don't know. I would say the Raiders maybe now would finish at the number 2. It could be a toss-up between the Raiders and the Broncos.
I think the Broncos might. If Bo Nix can play at an elevated level, if Sean Payton can just coach the mess out of Bo Nix and kind of get the jitters out, I think the Broncos could give the Chiefs a run for their money if they really needed to. I do think that would be possible.
Well, because, look, like I said, just looking at the order of finish last year, and I know there is come on, with the Chargers. The Chargers are going to finish last. I just don't see how. I think they're going to be right back there where they were, giving up those wide receivers and giving up. I know Gus Edwards is just not he's not an Austin Eckler.
No, but he is a good back. He was really good in Baltimore. He's got game. It's a different game, but he's got game.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just see when you look at the order of finish, it's probably going to be just like it finished last year. You got the Chiefs, unless somewhere the Chiefs have a breakdown and the Raiders are able to take advantage of it. I got to think it's going to be the Chiefs, the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers. Pretty much the same order of finish last year. AJ, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that as well. Because, at first I was like, maybe the Chargers might do a little bit better. But, now looking at it, they are kind of low like that. They don't have a lot of talent anymore. And then the Broncos, like y'all talked about, if Bo Nix tees up, has potentially like an offensive rookie of the year type of season, they could be really good. But I think that the Raiders, they'll be second. And honestly, it depends because how the rest of the AFC, like the AFC East, y'all were saying AFC North too. But that team, how they finished last year and talking about Las Vegas, they finished strong. And then Gardner Minshew is the starter now. They could try to contend for a wild card, but it's hard because
and see, and I might end up I think I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it now because you just brought up a good point. Antonio Pierce just made the selection, and he was trying to make that selection based on the style of play, but he didn't. They both pretty much played the same, so he had to make a selection, and probably Minshew because he's got more experience. But because the Raiders' quarterback situation is so shaky, I gotta say the Broncos will be second. I'm gonna move the Broncos to finish second behind the Chiefs. I'm gonna put the Raiders at third, and I'm gonna put the Chargers at fourth, and that's my order of AFC because I just don't. I'm not comfortable with either one of those guys. I told you on the way over here, I would take Garoppolo over both of them, and knowing that, and most Raider fans would say, "Are you out of your mind?" But no, and I think this was I'm surprised they didn't just go out and find a better journeyman type quarterback for the Raiders.
Well, shout out to all of our adventures in Las Vegas because the only thing that I'm iffy on there is the Raiders had a top 5 defense all last season without spending a dime on their defense. You still have Max Crosby. You still have all of the studs across the interior D-line. You have all these corners that showed out for them that have come up. The Raiders have they have a defense that is better than the Broncos at enough of a clip that I think that the Raiders could still end up being that number 2 team. But on paper, maybe so. In terms of play this offseason, the Broncos have got to be slotted second. It's just the Raiders have not looked great this preseason.
And the Broncos don't have the best roster per se, but they and man, this is really risky picking a team to finish second in that division with a rookie quarterback.
True.
But just looking at, I just think Bo Nix might be better than O'Connell and Minshew. And Minshew was just one of those quarterbacks that just had a great moment.
Yeah.
If you
a couple of great moments.
Like a Duck Hodges for the Steelers that one year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rattled off a couple of wins and looked exciting and woohoo, But if he was really that good, he wouldn't be with the Raiders. He would have stayed wherever he was.
Correct.
Where he was having that success.
It's like a Josh Dobbs situation from last season. Yeah.
So I got Jacoby Myers.
Oh, you took my God dang it.
Because I saw him there, and like they do in the NFL draft, you have to take the best player on the board at the time. So
Mellons just took my next pick, by the way.
Mellons, I can't believe this draft is still going on. I got a flight to catch in the morning. As a matter of fact, tomorrow morning, heading to Washington, D.C., to attend the podcast movement, which is a big convention of podcasters, broadcasters, some of the best podcasters in the world. This is pretty big.
That sounds big.
I will be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, meeting with a lot of people, some sports podcasters, and you name it, all over the country. They're gonna assemble there in the nation's capital.
How'd you get into that? How'd you find this?
Well, I wanted to attend this last year when it was in L.A., but, we had the Vegas stuff going on, so it was just kind of tough to make this happen. But,
True.
Stephen A. Smith spoke at the one a couple of years ago, and Mark Cuban spoke because, he got into the broadcast. Remember, he had that broadcast.com where you could broadcast over the internet. So just great stuff. So that's going to be happening. And, of course, what else is going on this week? I do believe not this week, but on the 27th of August, which I think is a Tuesday, all teams have to trim down to 53.
Yes, sir.
So you get another week of preseason football next week. So you get the last week, which is week 3. So that should be exciting. And then next week, Jacob, the Sports King, the Mean Gene Show. I knew I was going to do that. The Mean Gene Show will be on from 3 to 5. Am I right, AJ? So we're on 3 to 5. So
yes, sir.
We're coming on a little early. So make sure you mark that down next week, 3 to 5 Central Time. We're going to be in studio talking about the NFC East and the NFC West. And I know AJ's happy because we're talking Dallas Cowboys.
Let's go.
That's going to be a good time. And I should be joining you. I might be joining you in studio for that show as well.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. All right.
You're here.
Let's do it.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. So that should be fun. So it says it's my time here to make a draft pick here. And someone just really got the one person that I really wanted to take. It was going to be another running back. I am going to take, and I'm going to share this with everybody. I'm going to give Gus Edwards an opportunity.
Good. He deserves it. He's going to be a good pick.
I'm going to give Gus, even though I just talked about him. See how we are in this league. And I think I talked about him because I didn't want nobody else to take him. But my streak of drafting a rookie is going to be broken here. So this is interesting stuff. So we're going to wrap it up here, folks. We're going to get ready. And Jacob, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having
me. We'll see you next week.
This is a blast. I cannot wait to be back.
AJ, thank you for putting up with our crap, man.
Of course. Thank y'all. I'm looking forward to being on with y'all.
Looking forward to it. All right, folks. Enjoy your week. Have a safe one. We'll see you back here next week on the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, how to get 30, how to get 20, 20, 20, how to get 20, 20, how to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.